VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you. We're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. A banger of a 3-hour show lined up today, including one of the best poker players in the world who has been on a heater at the World Series of Poker, Shawn Deeb, taking time out of his incredibly busy schedule to join us in studio coming up in 30 minutes. Paulie, level of excitement from a scale on 1 to 10 here?
9.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Goes to a 10. Goes to an 11. Absolutely. He is trying to lock up Player of the Year. Can't wait to talk to him. He's probably feeling invincible and dodging bullets right now after what he's done.
Well said. Paul Stone live from Big 12 Media Days today. Best bets on that conference in the Big 12. Jeff Seeley, the Scottish Open, his best bets. And Derek Stevens is going to be fired up. Football contest and the big, beautiful bill a little bit later on this afternoon. There was we'll get into baseball coming up in a minute, but there was a WNBA game earlier today. Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky were big dogs against Washington. They nearly won it outright. Hell, they were winning for a lot of that game in the second half, but they gave it away late. They covered the big number, and Angel Reese did it yet again. She had 20-plus points and 15 rebounds. I know that you were on the rebound prop over yesterday, 13.5. I laddered her this morning. I found it here in Vegas where you can go up to 16 rebounds, so I played 14-plus, 15-plus, and 16-plus. That last one was a loser, but the first two were winners.
She had 10 at half.
10 at halftime.
Yeah, I thought your monster game was looming.
And she was fired up at one point. She had 5 fouls in the game, but at one point late, I think it was tied at 77, the coach, they were, I think, leaving the court after a timeout, and the coach was like handing her the clipboard as she came off the court, and she spiked it like she was a volleyball player. Pissed off. You got to love the fire and the passion. But this stretch that she's on, Paulie, we mentioned this at the end of the show yesterday when you gave it out in pocket. 13.5, don't think is a big enough number right now.
Yep. 6 games in a row, at least 15 boards, averaging 17, 17, and 5 in the last 6. Another way you can attack it is the PRA, points, rebounds, and assists. It was 32.5 at DraftKings. Obviously flies over that with 22, 15, and 4 in this morning's game. They play again tomorrow night. She's found her offensive game. Doug Kazarian talked about with the Cordasco girl being out and how she's found her offensive game in lieu of that, and that's helped. And she's always been a menace on the boards as well, and not so much with the rebounds either. It's not the offensive rebounds. So feel good for her. She's been mocked and ridiculed with the offensive game, but a 17, 17, and 5 run here the last 6, good for her. Come right back with her tomorrow night.
Yeah, there is a game coming up later on tonight. In recent years, this was a monster rivalry in this sport. The Aces are taking on the Liberty, and the Liberty are down to a 4-point favorite. Now, I think this was touching 6 either last night or earlier today. I know it was at least 5.5. But there's no Jones for the Liberty. Wilson, the Aces are only 9-9. She should have a field day in this game. Her player prop is 22.5 tonight.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like, the Aces are having a bad season at 500 overall, but you flip it to Liberty are 3-6 in their last 9 games after that torrid start to the season. So I guess I kind of agree with the money coming in on the Aces in this game. They rebounded. They absolutely squashed Connecticut. But what does that say? Because Connecticut's the worst team in the league. That's on the heels of Las Vegas getting blasted by almost 30 points against Indiana with no Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, right. That was terrible. Right. And that's why if you hurt me, I'm going to take some time off. And that one was bad. How bad that performance was when Wilson outscored her teammates as well. So I don't want the Aces tonight. But tough, interesting matchup, just like you have Mercury and Lynx tomorrow. Thoughts on the tennis with the big move as well? Well, that was live while we were live on the air yesterday. What happened with Sinner? So I didn't know this. Sinner got hurt in the first round yesterday and hurt his elbow. And I'm not a tennis expert, but he had to cancel practice today. So the money keeps coming in on Shelton, who was up there to 3-1. Now he's plus 250. And along with that, it's nothing but Alcaraz money to win Wimbledon now. He's as high as $1.65. He wins. He faces Fritz tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next day. And Alcaraz up to $6 against Fritz. He's 2-0 against him this year. Fritz hasn't won a set. You can lay 5.5 games with Alcaraz. But this is, I think it's a huge deal that Sinner had to cancel practice today. He plays early tomorrow morning. He'll be going the same time as the Joker match, and nothing but Shelton money. And we'll see. It certainly affected him in the Dimitrov match is the guy's been unbelievable and doesn't even lose a set and drops the first 2 sets after he gets the awkward fall and hurts his elbow.
Well, knowing what we know right now, would you actually place a bet on the Joker to win this thing?
I think Alcaraz will be too much for him.
No, I'm just saying, like, if they actually meet, is he going to be, again, we talked about this yesterday with the money line, if it's going to be Sinner versus Alcaraz, and, Sinner was all the way up to, like, plus 225. Like, if they meet, there's no way it's going to be that number. Well, now we know about the injury, and Joker's actually below 4-1 now.
Yeah. That's what he was pretty much yesterday, too. He has not much movement, but then you see, I got to see what Sinner looks like. But the fact that'll change if you get the upset, number one player goes out, and Joker moves along as well. But Alcaraz was awesome today, and a good job by Fritz to make it. But I just think he'll be too much for Fritz as well. And then Sabalenka, as she always does, she messes around. She makes it interesting when it doesn't have to. She's down. She loses the first set. Credit for her bouncing back, but then she's down 3-1 in the third set, and then wins, I think, 12 of the next 14 points. So you see when the beast comes out of her, and she just uses all that energy, and she's not frustrated, not talking to herself. She's a total package with that forehand and how good the serve is that she took over and won that match. And now 275 in the semis as she moves on.
She's minus 140 to win it outright here at DraftKings as well. Okay, so also another thing that is going beast mode right now, the Blue Jays in Major League Baseball. They did it again yesterday against the White Sox. 9 straight wins. They are now suddenly up on the Yankees by 3.5 games in the American League East. The number tonight with Bassett taking on Savali and the White Sox. Blue Jays opened up at minus 170. And, I mean, they're taking money. I can't disagree with that at this point. They're as high as minus 206 on the screen right now to win the game tonight, and they have turned into a machine, Paulie. Yeah. I know that we kicked around. You did the idea yesterday maybe on the run line. I didn't like it because of Barrios, but he was good yet again on the road, and now they're minus a quarter on the run line in this game today with Bassett, like I said, taking on Savali.
He's bad on the road. He's great at home. He struggles on the road. He's got an ERA of 6 and change, but he has great numbers going back against Chicago, though. So that's the conundrum you face tonight. But you want to ride the hot streak, be my guest, but 5-1 with a 1.83 against Chicago.
Here's what you got to like. The team is having a blast playing. I do believe that over the course of 6 months, this is contagious, and it can turn into a thing. Like the chemistry for a baseball team being around each other every single day for 6 months out of the year. I saw it up close and personal with the A's when I lived in the Bay Area about 10 or 12 years ago. The guys got no. I brought this up on the show before. They got no credit. They were total underdogs. They picked to finish last, and they took off that year, and they won their division on the final day of the regular season. I think we're noticing that right now with the Blue Jays. And the way that they celebrated yesterday, they're all turning their hats backwards because Vladdy does that when they do the handshakes, and they were all smiles, and now they're crushing the baseball. And when things are going this well, pretty much everything in life for these players, feeling pretty good about it, man. And they're playing exceedingly well, and it's just now turning into suddenly, out of nowhere, one of the best teams in baseball. So again, I'm not going to blame anybody if you want to sit here after an 8-4 win again yesterday, if you want to say you're going to be betting them on like a money line parlay, or if you want to bet them on the run line in this game. What do you want to do with the Dodgers tonight after Yamamoto couldn't even make it out of the first inning last night.
Oh, he's been bad. I know. Disappointment since that hot start. I know. So now we'll see if that last start for the Phenom, Mizorowski, was a fluke. And Kershaw, $1.25 on the road. I think the Brewers can get to him and touch him up, and we'll see if the kid bounces back after that bad performance against the Mets. Maybe it's more about, hey, we found you out. We're beginning to study you, and we know what you're up to. Or it's just a bad couple walks, long ball, and that was it. But don't really want to say, well, the Dodgers are going to break out of this tonight and go there with Kershaw. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they touch him up and the White Sox got to him in the last start. So I'm hoping the Phenom bounces back, though.
Kershaw touched almost $1.30 earlier today at certain books. And now money back on the Brewers. I'm with you. Like, what do you make of Mizorowski overall? The first 3 starts were absolutely brilliant. Keep in mind the level of competition that he played. And his last start did not go well. So here's one angle maybe to look at with Kershaw. Yes, it was a great story. It was an incredible scene at Dodger Stadium when he struck out batter number 3,000 in his career last start. But he has not been striking out a lot of guys at all. He's been going deeper into games since coming back and starting these contests. But his K-prop tonight, shop around, is either 3.5 plus money to the under are 4.5, juiced, like heavily juiced to the under 4.5. Opposing pitchers right now are currently on a 10-2 and under one run to their under with their K-prop against the Brewers. They have not been striking out at all.
These numbers are so sharp today because I wanted the Kershaw K's under. I wanted Martinez outs over. He's from Miami. He's been great against Miami. Also looking at bullpen when Green comes back, I think you get a big start on Martinez. I wanted Lugo outs over. Yeah. He's been so good. Pirates can't hit, but it's just it's too high today. Can't do it.
I'll give you another one. I wanted Hunter Brown outs over tonight.
Yeah.
They're keeping it like at 17.5 at some books. Yeah. He's been automatic to get to 18. It's minus 240 in that range.
Oh, man.
To go over. It's one of the highest numbers I've ever seen for any player prop.
Sonny Gray to register a win plus $1.10. St. Louis in his 10 home starts, 9-1, and he has a 2.76.
Beautiful.
I think they should touch up Irvin and get to him, and that's a way you can attack it with the Cardinals. Our NFL guide is out. It's fantastic, over 90 pages. Sign up for the early bird special. You get $175 for all our football coverage through the Super Bowl, and that's every best bet, every host, every guest, and every betting guide, the 24/7 video, all the data and tools, and the morning email from Bill 80. Sign up today, get your copy, VSiN.com/subscribe. It ends at the end of the month. Expires July 31st. Get in the football special, $175, VSiN.com/subscribe. What a deal. Get it now.
All right, so here's the plan for this hour. Again, typically we do win some, lose some at 45 past this hour in the first hour of the show. That's coming up next because Shawn Deeb is going to be in studio coming up at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. Along with win-lose, we brought up some season-long NFL props on the show yesterday. And the more you dig in, the more you have to like this wide receiver market. We'll explain next here on VSiN.
Derek, what's the guarantee? Derek?
Mike, time to make history. Players at Circa Million make 5 picks against the spread each week with quarterly and full season payouts.
Circa Survivor entries choose one team each week with no point spread. The last one standing wins it all.
We have $21 million on the line. Are you in? Visit circasports.com for details.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah. Came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
On the next, a numbers game, a plethora of guests with a whole bunch of bets. Will Hill will join us with all of his baseball bets and maybe beyond the sport of baseball as well. All of the plays in a full slate of Major League Baseball. JVT talking NBA offseason with us and more. Ben Wilson on Wimbledon. How about that? A rare Ben Wilson appearance, maybe some soccer from him as well. And Greg Peterson, you talk about all-day baseball. We got it with hoops on the MLB. Numbers game, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here at VSiN.
Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
All right, short edition. Not much going on in the world of sports. Wasn't a lot of movement. Boston, $2 up to $2.60, and they pound the Rockies. First team since the A's in 1916 to lose 70 of their first 91. Angel Reese, 6 straight games with 15 boards or more, and to me, this is next-level thinking. Today at Big 12 Media Day, the commissioner announced they are scrapping the preseason media polls because they felt last year Arizona State being picked last hurt them with the public perception.
Oh, okay.
I agree with that.
I saw that news.
That's not bad.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. It's like, well, wait a second. Weren't they finished last? Picked last and they keep winning game? How good are they? Is the media that off and then they make the playoff?
Yeah, and let me tell you this, Paulie, because this is something that we have tracked now for a long, long time. We both moved to Las Vegas like in 2001, 2000, in that neighborhood, and we covered a lot of media days out here. I can't tell you how many times, for those of you who don't track this stuff, a lot of times the media predictions are so far off. Like last year was a great example, but that has happened countless times in the last 20 years, where the team picked to finish first might finish 9th, and the team to pick, to finish like 11th is going to be in the top 2 and playing in the title game. It's crazy.
I agree with it. So I think we never should add preseason polls going back to because how important it was before we had the playoff, and the SEC would get half of the top 25 in, and then if you win, you move up so much, and if you lose, you hardly get penalized. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. I'm a fan of this dog. It's a great-looking dog. It's a bully. But I don't know what's going on because it's not in English with his owner. But he's popular on Instagram, and here he is at the counter. Anything? Any treats? Any snacks? What do you got? What are we picking up today? And this guy's always got a happy look on his face and likes to play. That's a good look at that. Good-looking dog.
Oh, yeah.
Bully. Awesome.
Great coat.
Yep.
Standing on the hind legs.
Mm-hmm. Well behaved.
Peekaboo, you see me? I think he's got a treat in his mouth the way it looks.
Yeah, looking over. Is this okay? Am I all right? I'm not causing any problems, right? What a stealth move this is. Like a thief in the night. The brother and sister. The dog falls asleep, out cold on the carpet, but it's got its toy under the paw. And here comes the other guy. I want that toy. That's mine. No sudden movements. I don't want to wake him up, and he gets it. He steals the toy from his friend, who fell asleep with the toy under his paw, and he comes in a secret move. An assassin move comes in and steals the toy.
How about the IQ on that dog, huh?
I know. Yeah, because if I wake him up, I can't get it.
Sure.
I got to be it. Pitter patter, right? Good birthday party here. What a gift for this guy.
Oh, my Lord.
A piñata of tennis balls. It's his birthday. They come in.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Okay. I have tennis balls in the big tennis ball. And then he comes in.
Finally figures it out.
Okay, then opens all up. That's excellent. I have not seen that.
The homemade piñata from the dog's owner.
Oh, that is good.
Very, very, that's well done.
Got that for his birthday. Excellent. Couple lose some. Summer League. Sixers 2 up to 4.5 in the over 173.5 to 177.5. No good. Even though it's Summer League, big moves. WNBA, Dallas from 11 down to 6. And the under 170 down to 163.5. Also no good. And bad beat, 2 of them same game. First 5 under, Cleveland and Houston. And Cleveland first 5. No score, top of the 5th. Cleveland gets a 4 spot. Astros are being no-hit. Astros answer with a 4 spot of their own. That is brutal. And that was a fishy line. Cleveland had lost 10 in a row. Houston was on fire. You got another one here you're pointing out. I'm with you. Why are the Cubs only $1.30? Imanaga's great. Cubs can hit. Twins, not so much, and I don't trust Woods Richardson.
Doesn't it feel like they're begging you to bet the Cubs?
I agree.
That's scary.
Win some, lose some, brought to you by SharpPlays.com. Check them out, SharpPlays.com. Before the line moves, the Sharp Plays already there. They don't follow the market. They help shape it. Backed by advanced AI, connected to trusted insider sources, the Sharp Plays delivers the kind of edge that serious bettors count on every day. Free betting reports, real-time alerts, market-moving insights straight to your inbox or X-feed. It's not some side hustle. He's been doing it since 2011 and with Follow the Money since day one. We all remember Mr. Poison who couldn't pick his nose. Documented results, public logs, transparent receipts. Jeff and the crew do an excellent job. SharpPlays.com. Check them out on X. Trusted by the pros and watched by the books. Visit SharpPlays.com and stay ahead of the line in the game.
Yesterday on the program, we were kicking around a handful of season-long props in the National Football League. The props that we kicked around were available at BetMGM. I'm guessing that you can find them at some of the other national sports books as well. One of them was how many 200-yard receiving games will we have this year? Combined. Entire league, right? It's 2.5. And the over plus 115, plus 120. We were going to go and do all the legwork and run this stuff down, either later on this month or in August. Don't have to. Eric did all of it for us. He emailed the show. Thanks to Eric, FTM at VSiN.com. Since 2016, we have had at least 3 games of 200-plus yards receiving every year with the exception of 2022.
Oh.
And that year, we had 2. Starting in 2016 and going forward to 2024, the number of 200-yard receiving games has been 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 5, and then last year we had 4. 8-1, just blindly betting over 2.5 every single year. Great job out of him.
Thank you.
And a couple of those years, obviously, going over with ease, and he threw this one in for good measure. He's also going to bet longest TD from scrimmage over 92.5 yards minus 115. That is 7-3 over in the last 10 years. And as he emailed the show, he said we have 272 games to get 193-yard touchdown. I like those odds. Okay.
Sure.
Don't disagree. Happens, 7 out of 10 years. That's worth probably laying 15 cents.
Wasn't it Gabe Davis a couple of years ago against Pittsburgh? 95 yards right off the bat?
Week 1.
I don't know if that might have been that early.
I think that was
recall,
week 1, and
was...
it happened with the Saints, and I think it was Brandon Cooks, maybe against the Raiders in week 1. He had a 98-yarder right out of the gates. Just okay, that was an easy one to win. So he also is he wants to look for Derrick Henry to throw a touchdown pass. Did not have one last year, but he did it 3 years in a row with Tennessee. And he thinks that Harbaugh is going to, he'll have something dialed up this year to where Mark Andrews might be open back of the end zone, and there's Henry finding him for a lob pass.
Yeah. I touched on this briefly yesterday. Will Hill, Caesars. Will the game end in a tie this year? Yes, minus 220. Total overtime games, 15.5. Over $1.20.
And I bring this up every year too. I want to bet on, when we get a tie, if we do, will a player or the coach involved in that game say afterwards, I had no idea that a game can end in a tie?
That's right.
Because that happened for
the damnedest thing.
It happened 5 ties in a row. What? How does that keep happening? Every single year? Did you not pay attention a year ago? And how do you not know the rules? Really, really weird stuff, man. So, other baseball stuff that we have today. Good pitching matchup, I think, anyway. Warren can be a little bit dicey. He took on this Blue Jays monster last week and got roughed up for 7 runs in the first inning. But it's Gilbert going for Seattle against Warren tonight in Yankee Stadium. Yankees opened up about $1.25. Not much movement there. Totals at 8.5. Of course, the Mariners with a day off yesterday. They're coming off that 3-game shutout sweep over the Pirates, which was up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I don't trust Warren. He's got good numbers against the AL West, but see if Seattle's streak can carry over. And I don't like how the Yankees are playing. And I know everyone's going to have that same game parlay with the big dumper and Judge to go deep tonight.
Yeah, so I looked at that, by the way. The first book that I looked at to put that home run parlay together, it pays less than 6-1. I can't bet that. Can you?
No,
thank you.
Good point, though, about what you think and you vision on paper. That was disappointing with Kikuchi and DeGrom. Couldn't believe it. DeGrom made one mistake with the home run, but 95 pitches. He only go 5 innings, and Kikuchi didn't have much either.
No, he got roughed up right away in the first inning, and I bet his K-prop over. That was a loser. And he had been so hot, striking guys out, but did not continue. And there was another game, too. Some of the stuff that we talked about yesterday was really good. Some of the other stuff was not. The under in that game and, the under in the Royals-Pirates game. How is it number 8.5? These teams can't score. Okay. The Royals got the over by themselves. And, now in that Rangers-Angels series tonight, I would say, on paper, this can be a really good pitching matchup tonight as well. Evaldi goes for Texas. He's got solid numbers overall, a 1.75 ERA.
Very good.
Soriano's difficult for me to, every time I want to bet him, he has an off night. And every time I'm I can't do it again. He's unbelievable.
Yep. I'll give you another one, too. The Giants should be able, with Robbie Ray, should be able to take out Walker and the Phillies. Don't you think?
Well, the market says so.
17-3 at home against Philadelphia since 2018. And they shut him down. That should have had the under yesterday because we love Sanchez. And it was a good job by the Giants who won 3-1. But I think you can come back with the Giants at home and trust Robbie Ray at home. They played so well when he's been on the mound.
I think that tells you, right, for the Phillies to be this kind of big of a dog?
Yeah. Well, not a lot of confidence in Walker.
No,
either,
not
too,
at all.
But yes.
Yep. All right, up next, professional poker player Shawn Deeb is going to join the program in studio. He won the largest pot in Omaha tournament history. He is the leader in the Player of the Year rankings. A lot to get into with him coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Season the sharp way with a VSiN Pro subscription. Right now, grab our football special for just $175. An early bird deal that gives you full VSiN access through the Super Bowl. That includes our NFL betting guide, loaded with team previews, power ratings, and season-long best bets. Plus, pro picks sent to your inbox daily, betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, live shows on the VSiN Watch app, and so much more. Don't wait. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, this is going to be a lot of fun. It is an absolute pleasure as we are joined by one of the best poker players in the world. He won his 7th bracelet at the World Series of Poker. He won the biggest pot in Omaha tournament history, and he is the current leader for the Player of the Year. Shawn Deeb in studio here on a Tuesday. Great to see you again. How are you today?
I mean, obviously I'm a little richer than the last time you guys saw me, but no, I told you guys being the summer, like I put in the most volume. I have the best chance for Play of the Year. It's always a great battle. A lot of things had to go right for me to have the results I've had. A lot of fortunate situations being the short stack. The PLO, I was, four-handed. I had like 5 big blinds once, got up to second place, got back down to 5 big blinds, got back up, and then, played heads up against Ike Haxton, one of the best players in the world, one of the most successful ones. And, the cards were in my favor, so I was able to beat him heads up, and it's pretty crazy looking back on it. Such a big tournament. I've never played a final table for $3 million before, and to come away and win it it was a great experience. Had amazing friends, new friends on the rail, the support of the whole community, the staff. It's a lot of fun when everyone's behind you, and it just felt like it was me and the world against Ike.
What's that overall, the feeling? Somebody that's been doing this for a long time, but, as one of the best in the entire world, obviously whenever the World Series of Poker is getting closer, I'm guessing you're going to have sky-high expectations, right? And to come out here, and this year in 2025 anyway, the feeling when you walk away from the table knowing that you probably not only met those expectations, but you maybe exceeded what you had in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I would never think I'd come here and cash for like $4 million, have a first, 3 seconds, a third, and all these other great results. Obviously, the PLO was the first time they've ever done a 100K buy-in for PLO. I've had amazing success. I've won 2 of the 25K high roller PLOs, which used to be the highest buy-in PLO tournament. So I definitely have a lot of comfortability at final tables for PLO. I did some things that I think other players weren't expecting me to do. And I kind of, a lot of these guys are so studied, and we talked about solvers and like that strategy. And my way I try to counteract them. And I do some things where they don't expect me to raise in a spot I raise. And so I definitely won some pots and picked up chips that I think very few people in the field would have found those spots that I did.
For the radio audience, your hat says lucky. Certainly an unbelievable player, but we had David Baker on, and he won a bracelet, and he went 6s against kings and then flopped quads. I was watching on Poker Go with your great comeback against Haxton. You mentioned you were down to 3,000 chips. He had 30,000. How much does luck play a role in this in the run you've had?
I mean, it's definitely. The funny thing is, I'm a member of Team Lucky. I don't believe in luck. I believe in only variance. But
okay.
There was a lot of variance in my favor. A lot of times when I was short, my opponents folded, and I picked up the blinds and antes to survive. It's funny because when ODB won his bracelet, I was on one of the side features playing a different event. So when he ended up winning, I was one of the first people to go embrace him after he embraced his wife. Me and David Baker have gone back a long time. I always remind him that he was one of the first people that didn't really know me who noticed my skill. We were playing a 200-400 limit cash game at Aria in Ivy's room, and he's sitting to my left, and he leans into me, and he's like, listen, if you stick with this game, like, you will go so far. He noticed the raw talent I had. He noticed the table presence I had. Mm-hmm. So he was one of my first supporters from like people I had no knowledge of. And we just played together for a few hours, and he saw something in me. So, and it's funny because there was 2 different winners interviews me and Dave gave, and I saw his, and then before mine was aired the next day, and we basically both said the same thing about like this generation doesn't understand volume, doesn't understand just put in effort, accept the variance, and just show up every day. And me and Dave both love the World Series. We play all the games well, and we're a slightly different generation, but we're the same mind.
He reached out today when he saw that you were going to come on the show. And he and I DM'd a little bit, and he goes, just really good dude, really great dude overall. Yeah. So he was really looking forward to you popping on today with us.
Yeah, we talk about this community is so great, and so many people from all over the world become friends, and we all have similar goals of what's best for the industry, how to protect everyone, how to make money for our families, to provide for everyone, and to why also make it an enjoyable experience. There's so many cutthroat people in gambling who are willing to screw everyone over to make an extra 10 cents. But me and David Baker are not that type, and I think those players like us, we tend to gravitate towards each other because we recognize how forward-thinking we are and just how trustworthy and honest we are to, even at our own detriment at times.
Very good.
Yeah.
Has it set in? You're one of 16 people to have 7 bracelets, and it could have been a lot more.
Yeah, I'm actually like, it's one of those, it seems very egotistical to say, but I'm actually disappointed I only have 7. I've had a lot of close calls. Just last night at dinner, I know one of your guys' sponsors is Edge Boost. I was with some of the Edge Boost people and the owner, and someone there who works for them is a big Phil Hellmuth fan. They used to do business together. And he's talking about how I'll never pass Phil. So I offered a bet, a lifetime bet, whether or not I'll pass Phil. And he's like, how much do you want to bet? I said $1 million. He's like, no. Like, let's bet 10K. I was like, okay, book. So I'm on the record. If I die, if I have not passed Phil Hellmuth in bracelets, I owe this guy 10K. And, I'll let my wife know. But, yeah, I like my chances. There's a lot of events coming up. A lot more bracelets will be given out the series next year. There's all the onlines that, I do well on as well. So I like my chances to pass Phil.
What's his current count?
He has 17.
17, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to guess 19, but 17, you can get there.
Oh, very easily.
Yeah. I mean, hence the $1 million offer to take him up on that bet.
Listen, Doug Polt always said something, if you're going to bet big on yourself. And I've done that my whole career, and I think it's a great motto to live by because no one's going to work harder for you than yourself. And that's the nice thing about professional gambling. It's a very self-centric industry. And so, yeah, I'm just willing to bet on myself. Anyone ever wants to bet against me for Player of the Year or bracelets, I'm always available for side action. But unfortunately, I think after this year, my action was already very limited. But I think it's good. I have to lay some big odds in the future to bet against anybody.
Probably. All right, follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional poker player Shawn Deeb, absolutely on a heater at the World Series of Poker. You're talking about all that wearing Team Lucky right now. You don't believe in luck. You believe in variance. I want to ask you this, though. I know it's kind of a two-parter. On a scale from 1 to 10, let's say, how would you grade your overall play to this point? And then how would you grade, on a scale from 1 to 10, the cards that you've gotten?
So, yeah, I think my play has been like 8.5 out of 10. You're always going to make some mistakes. I mean, I've been playing for almost 40 days straight now.
Yeah.
I had 1 day off the whole time. With those 5 top 3 finishes, a lot of them I had early chip leads, and I was able to withstand the variance and the bad cards. But then when I was super short, everything worked out. I never busted, or they would get folds when I wanted folds, or I'd run a bluff and it would work. So, you can offset variance very easily by skill in a lot of spots, and I definitely pick some spots well. But when the cards are face up, there's only so much you can do. You can be 60, versus like I was 45% when all the money went in. If he wins that pot for the last hand heads up, he now has me 7-1 in chips. So, that I had to get slightly lucky versus a better player than me. But I also, chipped him down and had a shot to win a 60-40 earlier that I lost. So when you look at the overall combination of equity, you realize it evens out eventually. And it's just crazy to be on that scale playing heads up for $1 million and come away with the win.
So the high just happened, I would think. But you win $2.9 million. You win another bracelet. Then you come right back, put your head down, let's keep going, and you have a big chip lead, and then your head's up. So what's that feel like when you finish second and can't get it done?
That's the thing is I started the summer with a third and then 2 seconds, and I was really frustrated. I was so close. I knew, one of them was an online bracelet. I literally played one hand heads up. I had a pair of 6s. My opponent had a pair of 9s. He's a friend of mine. There was nothing I could do. The 1,500 Raz, I had a 2-1 chip lead on a player I'm better than at heads up Raz, and I lost every big pot. And then the 3-handed one, I had all the chips. I get it in good twice, lose. And so that's the whole thing is I was very profitable at the time, but I was frustrated because I didn't have the results I wanted. Then after the PLO, and then I go to my friend Frank Casella's, so it was a 500-person 4th of July party at his house. Great time. I go there early to spend time with him to go play the tournament later. I hop in, at 7 o'clock in this 1K. I bag 920K. You start with 20,000. 1 in 6 people were left in the field, so average stack was 120,000. I had 923. Second place had 480. I had an amazing day 1. Day 2, I'm just battling with all these guys. It was supposed to be a 2-day tournament, and at one point, 3-handed at the end of day 2, I just won a huge all-in, and I have $31.5 million versus $2.5 million and $4 million at 500K big blind. So, you look at it from isolating from that point, obviously everything went really well to get up there, but at that point with that chip lead, I'm probably winning that tournament 90-95% of the time.
Sure.
So, that's the whole crazy thing about variance is, at one point I was 90% to win that tournament. I ended up getting second. We battled heads up for a while the next day. So, obviously, if I ever won that, Player of the Year would be almost 100% locked up. But that's what's going to happen. You can't win them all, and I'm happy with my play on all the hands heads up. I ran some cool bluffs. I got coolered a few times, and that's going to happen. And you just move on, and I hop in right away to the next event. And that's what I'm going to do for the next 10 days.
In like 10 seconds, how long does that stick with you?
No, it doesn't matter.
The next day it's gone?
Wow. 5 minutes later, it's gone.
Really? Okay.
I can reset. I should be a mental coach for everyone in gambling.
That's brilliant.
I just know how to control my emotions, and I know that the next day is more important than whatever happened the previous day.
Up next, professional poker player Shawn Deeb is going to explain why he's happy to be out of the main event. And we got to get into this chip dumping controversy we've talked about a couple times on the show next.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim is the only thing like it in the world.
Starting July 14th, gear up for the football season with VSiN Training Camp Today. Live every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Hosted by Kelly Bidlin, Nick Whalen, and Jeff Erickson. With special guests throughout the week, VSiN Training Camp Today delivers sharp insights on season-long props, futures markets, fantasy draft prep, playoff picks, and more. VSiN Training Camp Today, all week. Starting July 14th at 10 a.m. Eastern. Powered by the experts at VSiN. The Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board. Fun conversation here as we continue with one of the best poker players in the world. In fact, he's currently leading the Player of the Year rankings as we speak. Shawn Deeb's in studio. He recently won his 7th bracelet at the World Series of Poker and won the largest Omaha tournament in history as well. So you were talking about David Baker when you played with him for the first time, and he leaned into you and he's like, okay, he kind of knew how good you were, and this goes back many, many years. How often do you actually play with somebody new and you kind of think the same thing, like, well, this person is actually pretty damn good and I don't know who they are?
I think it's like once or twice a summer, I'll just watch a guy, their table presence, their demeanor, how they play some hands, how they play against a particular person, or how they adjust versus me. So in that 1K on day 2, this one European kid seemed like he had really good instincts, chose good sizing, made a good fold, and I literally just say to him, I was like, hey, let me buy a piece of you in the main event. And he's like, no, I kind of had a good summer. I like looked at his results. He had like a 5th or 6th place in like a 3K at the World Series. And I'm sure he did some stuff elsewhere outside of World Series. But he was like, nah, I'm kind of like good. I don't need the help. I was like, I have really lucky money. But my favorite story about that is, I think it was like 8-10 years ago, the year Joe McKeon won the main event. Matt Glantz was a Parks ambassador. And he played with this kid in the deep stacks of Parks, and he was really, really good. And he was like, he really liked the kid's game. And he sees him in the hallway at the Rio. And he's like, hey, you know, I want to buy a percentage of you in the main event. He's like, I'm not playing. He's like, listen, I'll give you $4,000 for a 30% of you in the main. Like, that's pretty high markup for a kid who wasn't probably going to play. Matt gives the kid the money, convinces him to play. He ends up going on to get 2nd in the main event. So, yeah, so Matt always... Matt, there's a reason why Matt's also a member of Team Lucky. He's got great instincts on people, and yeah. And, you know, the funny thing is the kid hasn't done much since then, but he, you know, sometimes you're just like peaking, and then you hit that result, and then you kind of just never get back to that point again.
How long does it take you to recognize, again, maybe a table full of strangers, never played with them before? How long does it take you in your mind to think this person's either really good or not good at all?
I think within 5 minutes, I know almost everyone at the table how they play, how they handle their chips, how they handle the cards, the timing of their actions, their bet sizing, who they talk to, do they seem nervous, do they ask me for a photo? I mean, there's so many things. And so I have, you know, at the World Series, people pegged very, very quickly. And thankfully, it's pretty obvious. You have a 25-year-old European kid, he's probably going to be good. You have a 60-year-old American, he's probably not going to be good. Like, physical stuff is so helpful, and just knowing people's background and their history. And also, I chat with people, so I get information of how often they play, how many events did they play, do they come out here just for this event, are they playing the main event? All you want to do is figure out the buy-in level they're comfortable with, their experience level, and then you have all you need.
What are we looking at here? You tweeted this out as well. The WSOP point standings, you're number 1. Last time you were in, you mentioned how important this is for you. They've done some stuff to hurt you with the rulings and how they do this. But how big is this lead that you enjoy right now over Glazer, who has 3 bracelets, by the way?
So Benny's obviously had an amazing summer. He had 3 bracelets super early, and then he just stopped cashing events. So the way the World Series Player of the Year standings and scoring works is it's very top heavy. So the average tournament is somewhere between 1,000 or 1,200 for first place. Whatever it is for first place, second place is half that amount of points. And then each point spot after that goes about 50-ish points until you get to 9th. And then it's 200. And then below that is 100. Like, there's these tiers of what percentage of the field cash. So the thing they changed about back in the day, when I first got into POI, all your scores counted. It was cumulative. So playing volume, multi-tabling, all the stuff I did got me a very high score. So, you know, Negreanu and Helmuth don't play as much volume. They want to have shot Player of the Year. They worked with World Series and said, we want everyone to have a shot at Player of the Year, not just always be Shawn. So let's cap it at 10 scores. So I've used all my 10 scores to get to that 42.83. Benny has, I believe, 7 scores. He has another small score coming from yesterday in the 600 Ultra Stack. So being like 600 points ahead, if he doesn't final table something, I'm probably going to win. There's just not enough tournaments for him to get 200 points in. If I improve my score, it goes up. But, you know, Scott Bowman and Martin Cabril, if they either of them win a bracelet, they would leapfrog me and Benny because of the way the scoring system works. So that's the fun thing. You know, it's 4 of us are all battling, trying to play all these events. It's part of the reason why I almost skipped the main event. I didn't want to play it because to get the POI points to increase my score, I would have had to make day 6 or day 7 of the main event. It's just too hard. Too many days committing and missing too many events where I could final table or win. So Yeah, so I was very happy to get knocked out in like 2 hours in the main, and I didn't miss any of the side events.
Is that the only reason why, or do you just despise the main anyway?
The main is not best for a player like me because I'm such a momentum player. I occasionally just bluff it off in the main event. People tend to have it, so I can't do some of the things. And I'm not a great super deep stack player. Like my skill set in poker is pre-flop. That's what online I think one of the most creative, smart, good instinctual pre-flop players. Post-flop, I could have some improvement on my game. But I've always just, luckily most of the tournaments I play, most of the hands in tournaments are pre-flop decisions, and post-flop kind of plays itself a lot of the time. But in the main event, there's a lot of like 5-way, multi-way pots, super deep, and I tend to get married to marginal hands. And also I'm like, I play every hand, so this guy's trying to bluff me. No, they probably just have it. Or I'm like, I'm trying to value bet thin, and then they have it. So yeah, I've definitely not had the best results in the main, but it's also fine. I'll take my side events. Other people can win the main.
Is it frustrating also in that event? Because it's, I think, the third most entries ever. But you get people who Hollywood, the tankers, they wear the costumes. The freaks come out for this thing.
It is unfortunate that because most players in the field don't regularly play 10Ks, and they tend to take overly too much time on their decisions when they're involved in the hand. And so I definitely don't enjoy that side of it. There's one player at my table who took 10 seconds to fold every hand pre-flop. And it's just annoying. Like, you have 7 deuce off front of the gun, you're never playing. Just throw it in the muck. And, like, this was a winning player who's had good results in the main event. And, someone I used to be friends with. So I know his mentality, and, like, he's trying to be balanced in GTO and this stupid shit. It's the main event. If he's the second best player at the table, he should be trying his hardest to get the most hands in. The people should be playing slow are the worst players at the table. But the funny thing, it's usually the better players who are tanking, and it's so stupid. They just kill their win rate. If you could say your ROI in the main event could go up by 25% if you played 25% more hands. If you're winning every hand dealt, why would you not try to play as many hands as possible with these amateurs as early as possible, as deep as possible? So unfortunately, a lot of poker players don't recognize how much that hurts them. And yes, they definitely ruin the experience for a lot of people. And it even gets worse when they're on a TV table. Like, I get it. People not used to be on TV table, they don't want to make a giant blunder and be made fun of and, be needled by their friend circle or be known as the guy who did this in the main event. So it definitely, I think on the features, it's going to be worse just because people are so nervous. Like, I mean, think about that. It's like you try to say like a college baseball player is like, hey, you're now at the World Series pitching Game 7. They're going to be fucking nervous as hell, but that's really what it is. Like, it's that skill level person trying to play the highest stakes against the best players on the biggest stage with millions and millions of people watching. So I definitely get how a lot of people are nervous in that spot. Obviously, someone like me who's been on a lot of streams, a lot of final tables, had a lot of success, it doesn't affect me, but I know why and how it affects other people. And so it's just kind of a necessary evil that you have to accept.
You called the person a former friend. Can you keep it clean here? Why is that?
We had a prop bet on American Ninja Warrior, and I bet that he couldn't advance to round 2, and he had like 3 years to do it. And so after the third year, he got injured the second year. It was like COVID, so I'm sitting there with my wife and kids watching because my kids love American Ninja Warrior. And he like called me up, and I was like, hey, can you send the money for you since you lost the bet? He's like, no, I advanced to round 2. I have another chance at the buzzer. I was like, no, the bet stipulated that it's only one attempt per year. You failed in your attempt. He's like, but I went to round 2. I said, the bet was to hit the buzzer at once a year. And so he tried to free roll me, try to act like I was scamming him. Unfortunately, when all the details came out, the poker public and the gambling public took my side. He eventually paid, and our friendship ended after that.
That was that. I'm guessing though in the poker world, like almost every player has a lot of former friends.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna 20 years in this industry. I'm sure you guys have people you might have done shows with or something else. You burn a few bridges. Sure. I mean, that's gonna happen. You can be so close with something. It only takes one thing to separate you guys or girls, and yeah. But the funny thing is I have some people I wasn't friends with, and now we're back to being friends. It can still come full circle. You never know when you're going to meet up with, like, Martin Cabral, who's up there. I hated him when I first met him.
I can see that.
Yeah, but I think he's so funny and so entertaining right now. Like, I love spending time with him. I think he's so intelligent.
You're okay with the table talk, though. I mean, you do that.
I don't talk nearly as much as him or nearly as loud. Yeah. No one does that. But Martin, his antics are very funny. His little, like, no media. Like, he has so many shticks. I had a great one. There was in the 50K PLO. We're on the bubble, like close to the bubble, and someone at the table, this guy I really don't know, he's like, hey, let's make a bet over under how many times Martin Cabral says not like that. And I said, well, let's do a lightning bet. So if you're not familiar with the lightning bet,
20 seconds.
Do you want to hang on to it?
Yeah, I'll say about this story is good. So I'll say
you can stick around for one more segment?
Oh, yeah, I got you guys.
Very good. Okay, this is awesome. Professional poker player Shawn Deeb has had a hell of a summer out here at the World Series of Poker. He's going to hang out, so he'll finish that story, and also we'll ask him about the chip dumping controversy as well. It's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Introducing the $500 trifecta. Use your GBank Visa signature credit card within 3 months of account opening